Good morning, Marvin Sylvester here. I hope all is well with you, all is well with me. And today is the 21st of May 2023. It's a beautiful Sunday here in Trinidad. And where am I? Today I'm in the deep south community of Buenos Aires. Why? You'll find out in another video. But yeah, as you can see, weather-wise, it's a little overcast. The rain was falling not too long ago, but the weather is holding up, and let's get straight to business. So as usual, to everyone who's been watching the videos, liking, sharing, subscribing, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. The more you continue to do that, the more the community will grow, the more the channel will grow. And this week, what do I want to talk about? This week I want to focus and to also continue the discussion on why it is I think Trinidad and Tobago should be trying to get into the Asian LNG buyers market. And I'm also going to cover some points as to why it is I think small scale LNG could be one of the vessels that would help us to get into that market. So let's start with the reasons as to why Trinidad needs to get into the Asian buyers market. And we could return to some points that I would have made before in previous videos, and we'll cover some new ones, right? So let's firstly look at the markets that we currently operate in, right? So remember that Minister Imbert recently had a media conference, and in that conference he gave us information that Trinidad and Tobago sells its LNG in three markets. Those three was the United States Henry Hub, which most people would know about. Then they would have the British NBP, N November Bravo Papa, and the Asian JKM, Juliet Kilo Mike, right? And let's start with the Henry Hub. So let's find out a little bit more about this Henry Hub, right? So according to law inside our website, Henry Hub means the distribution hub on the natural gas pipeline in Erath, Louisiana, owned by Sabine Pipeline LLC, right? And if we go to Sabine's website, it further states that Sabine Pipeline LLC owns and operates the Henry Hub. The Henry Hub interconnects with 9 interstate and 3 intrastate pipelines, including the following: Acadian, Columbia Gulf, Gulf South Pipeline, Bridgeline, NGPL, Sea Robin, Southern, Texas Gas, Trunkline, Jefferson Island, and Sabine's Mainline, right? So just in case you wanted a little background on what this Henry Hub is. So presently the LNG on this benchmark, the Henry Hub, is priced at around approximately $2.60 per MMBTU, right? Metric million British thermal units. So far, and this month I saw it drop to as low as almost $2.25 US dollars per MMBTU. And why is the gas price there so low? So this is mainly because the US has been increasing its domestic production of natural gas and LNG over the years, right? And because of this, the effect is that you're going to constantly have more and more gas showing up in the US domestic market, right? And this is leading to a surplus of gas there. And as we know, the more gas in the market, the lower the price will be, right? So that is one thing there. Also, there has been lower consumption in the US domestic market. Why? Well, as I would have previously shared, the winters, the colder months in the United States have been, in recent years becoming more and more mild, right? They're not as cold as they used to. And what this leads to is to them having less heating degree days, or simply put, they are using less and less energy, less and less energy and gas and whatnot to heat their homes. So the fact that they're using less and less gas also adds to the surplus that we're talking about, more gas being in the US market, and this, as we know, will cause the price to lower, right? So based on this US situation, in my view, unless something drastic happens, the cost of gas and LNG in the US and the Henry Hub will continue to remain low now and into the future. And I mean, it doesn't look promising for us as a LNG supplier. So in my view, this is one of the other reasons, one of the main reasons why it is we should also be looking at new markets, and I would say Asia, right? Because as we say, production surplus, excess gas, lower consumption, excess gas. Both of those factors will cause the price of LNG in the US to remain low, right? So let's look at the next market that we operate in, the next benchmark, and that would be the British NBP, right? Or we could say the European market. So let's give a little background on NBP as well. So according to SP Global, the UK or United Kingdom NBP gas market is Europe's longest established spot traded natural gas market, in operation since the late 1990s. The price of UK NBP is widely used as an indicator for Europe's wholesale gas market, alongside the more recent but more liquid Dutch TTF. NBP stands for National Balancing Point. In the NBP model, gas anywhere in the country within the national transmission system counts as NBP gas. This brings buyers and sellers together to simplify trade. So that is just a quick definition I found there, or background of NBP, right? Now, when we talk about the Europe LNG market, we also have the same situation when it comes to milder winters in recent history, right? And as I said, these milder winters are leading to less energy demand and energy consumption during the colder months of the year, and this is leading to excess gas or surplus gas within the system, which is ultimately leading to lower prices as well. Well, lower prices than usual in the UK to some extent, right, during the colder months. Also, you have a situation where there's something else that's happening in Europe. You have where the EU and its countries within its bloc are actively coming together to purchase LNG in an attempt to force the LNG prices down, right? Essentially, they're trying to form, as I would have shared in previous videos, a buyer's cartel. So to put things into perspective, let me just read a quote here from the European Commission Vice President Maros Sefcovic. I believe I would have shared this quote before, but I'll read it again. Where he recently said, "We clearly need to turn the economic tide in Europe," Sefcovic told Bloomberg in an interview. "I believe we are creating a new system that will increase competition and bring new suppliers and push energy prices down. Since we started this exercise, there's been enormous interest from international suppliers," right? So that's the EU, the EC Vice President say that, right? Also, I read recently on another article on the Conservative, which stated that as early as this month, the EU is expected to start putting out tenders for this new process. And as I stated in a previous video, right, this tendering system will not be good for Trinidad and Tobago because it forces vendors to compete and thus lower the price. And I remember when I first spoke about this, I gave the example of, I think it was somebody making school equipment like desks and chairs and stuff. If you have 10 companies all vying to win that contract to supply school equipment to the Ministry of Education or something, so you're not going to be running in there at your highest price if you really want to win. A lot of times you're going to have people going to try to run in there with the lowest possible price to try and beat out the competition so that they could get the tender. And that's what I am seeing happening in Europe. I haven't seen any information to state that otherwise is going to happen. So that's, you know, one of the other main reasons why it is, in terms of where we're going to get the best premium for the LNG coming out of Trinidad, where we're going to get the best prices for it. To me, the EU doesn't look very promising. So again, based on that weather factor and this tendering system, this new system that they're trying to create, if we want to get the best prices for LNG, we would have to look elsewhere. That's just my opinion. And again, I would say Asia. So now we come to the JKM, right? And I'll give another background again of this benchmark. So according to the Japan Exchange Group, JKM is the Northeast Asian Spot Price Index for LNG, delivered ex-ship to Japan and Korea, assessed by S&P Global Platts. The price reflects not only the cargo delivered to Japan and Korea, but also the cargo delivered to Taiwan and China. Northeastern Asia is the world's largest consumer region of LNG. More than half of global LNG import volume is shared by Japan, Korea, Taiwan, and China. And as I've said, this is where we need to go. This is where we need to go. Asia is where we need to go because as you see it, Asia has heavy LNG users, right? The demand will be high in this market, and so prices are expected to remain above, in my view, are expected to remain above average or high in these markets, right? And if you think about it, if more than half the global energy import volume is shared by Japan, Korea, Taiwan, and China, and we also throw India into that mix, these are huge economies within the Asian scene. So you begin to see why it is, just from that perspective alone, why it is I believe we need to get to Asia. But let's look at some stats, right? And the first set of stats I want to look at is from Statista, right? So in 2021, these were the top 5 importers of LNG in the world, right? First was China at 109.5 billion cubic meters. Second was Japan at 101.3 billion cubic meters. Third was South Korea at 64.1 billion cubic meters. Fourth was India at 33.6 billion cubic meters. And fifth was Taiwan at 26.8 billion cubic meters. These are the top 5 LNG importers in the world, at least up to 2021. And I also believe in 2022. And in 2022, Japan overtook China, according to LNG Prime, right? Japan imported, well, sorry for the different conversion rate, but this is how I got it, 71.99 million tons, while China imported 63.44 million tons. And even though this was a slight decrease for both countries from what they imported in 2021, we see that globally these are the heavy hitters. These are the countries that really, when it comes to LNG imports, I would say they are the big movers and shakers. And you don't really hear about it often, but this is what it is, right? Also, we know that these, countries according to IMF projections in particular, India is expected to grow at 6.8% in 2023, followed by China with 5.2%. And these two countries, and I want to believe along with the other Asian countries, are going to be leading GDP growth in 2023 and poised to do it beyond 2023. So they're going to need a lot of energy to keep their economies moving forward, and obviously they're going to need a lot of LNG. So the market is there, the demand is there, we just need to get the LNG there. Now the big question is, where is the LNG going to come from in terms of within Trinidad and Tobago? Well, as I would have speculated in another video, that is mainly going to come from Dragon, right? But we could also say potentially Manatee and Calypso gas fields. Now, when those gas fields are going to come on stream, that is a different story. That is for another video. But again, once they do come on stream, that is where the gas is going to come from. And that is where we could, potentially have gas to break into those markets. We'll see how that goes, right? Time will tell. But another big question is, how will we get the gas there? Let's say we get the gas. How are we going to get there? How are we going to break into these markets, right? How are we going to move in on the territory? Because obviously they already have other countries, probably countries like Qatar and all these other places already providing them with energy. How is a small country like Trinidad going to break into this market? Well, as I previously shared in another video, if NGC develops a small-scale energy hub facility in Trinidad, we will be able to service both regional and international LNG markets where small-scale LNG simply makes sense. And I would have shared in that video what is small-scale LNG. Small-scale LNG is everything that we already know, all the systems and facilities and everything that we know, but just on a smaller scale. And in terms of scale, you would have said that it would be for facilities, LNG facilities that handle a capacity of less than 1 million tons per annum, and vessels which transport 30,000 cubic meters or less, right? But again, back to the main question. How could Trinidad break into these markets? So recently we would have had the rumor where Trinidad and Tobago is expected to sign an MOU with KOGAS. KOGAS is a state-owned South Korean company that is responsible for all LNG imports into South Korea, right? And I also speculated that, in addition to that MOU to secure gas, there's the potential that KOGAS will also be an investor in the development of the small-scale energy facility. But time will tell, right? But again, if we are to start a relationship with KOGAS, this is excellent news, because after all, according to statistics, they are the third largest importer of LNG in the world. So if we build in that relationship with them, that's a really good thing. That's gonna help us to have a foot in the door to start unlocking things with South Korea, right? Also, I recently came across a article in Energy Prime which stated that NGC has signed a memorandum of understanding with a consortium of companies comprising Globus LNG, Quaban Energy, and Chester LNG to identify and screen technologies for micro and small-scale LNG development projects in the Caribbean. Now, this is good news, but when we look at that consortium, let's focus on one company in particular, which is Quaban Energy, right? So who is this company? If you go to Quaban Energy Group, you will see this stated on their website. It says, Quaban Energy Group, CEG, founded in 2012 in Elmwood Park, New Jersey, USA, is an American-owned/invested company specialized in design, manufacture, distribution, installation, operation, and maintenance of vessels used in natural gas and other cryogenic liquefied gas applications. CEG serves the mid to downstream liquefied natural gas LNG supply chains and operations. CEG develops custom state-of-the-art solutions to support fuel distribution, power generation, and manufacturing operations anywhere in the world. And also, if you go on that website, you will gather from it, and if you go on other websites too, that this company specializes in the ISO containers that could be used for transport of LNG on small-scale LNG vessels. And this company is also a major player overall in the LNG transportation field. So therefore, let's put it together but make a little speculation here too. If we've signed NGC, our national gas company, has signed a MOU with Corban to secure their services to develop small-scale LNG in the Caribbean. Remember, we would have said, you know, places like Dominica, Jamaica, Barbados, etc. In the Caribbean, maybe we could also work with Corban to break into the Asian conventional LNG, small-scale LNG markets, who I want to believe they undoubtedly have links with, right? So why not piggyback on them? To me, it just makes sense, right? And lastly, when you think about geopolitical conflicts, now is the time to get to Asia and LNG markets and to try to see if we could lock in some LNG contracts, right? Because if you think about it, why it is Kogas is engaging, rumored to be engaging Trinidad and Tobago now. In my view, my opinion, my thoughts, is that because these Asian countries want to ensure that they have stable LNG suppliers to maintain their economic growth, their economies, particularly when their traditional suppliers might have challenges due to global conflicts or whatever it is as the case might be, right? So, for instance, India, right, the fourth largest global importer of LNG in the world, recently in an oil price article, this was said about them, that major Indian natural gas importers are discussing long-term supply deals with the biggest LNG exporting countries to lock in future supply and avoid volatility and uncertainty in the case of spot price spikes, traders and executives tell Bloomberg. India plans to significantly increase its natural gas consumption as it looks to boost its share in the LNG mix, but the country and its LNG importers are particularly sensitive to surging spot LNG prices and often retreat from the spot market when prices jump. So what is all of this telling us here? It's saying that India, and I'm sure other Asian countries as well, or key Asian players, they want long-term stable LNG supplies. And I believe if Trinidad could provide that stable gas with a long-term contract in the quantities that, you know, we could provide or they need, whether conventional or small scale, there's a real possibility that these Asian countries will lap it up. They will lap it up. So that there in a nutshell describes why it is I think Trinidad and Tobago needs to get to Asian markets and how small scale LNG could help, right? So in summary, because let's summarize everything, right? What have I discussed? I've shown that we need to get to Asia. We looked at why the US and the EU may not be the best places for us to get the best premiums for our LNG. As I said, due to surplus production, lower demand, milder cold seasons, and well, the tendering process that's being used in the proposing to be used in the EU, right? Also showed that the top 5 LNG importers are in Asia: Japan, China, South Korea, India, Taiwan. I showed that these are booming economies who need LNG and energy, right? I explained how once we could provide stable long-term contracts, LNG contracts, the markets to facilitate this will exist. And I also covered how small-scale LNG in particular and our links with carbon energy can help us to get more, or to get a better foothold into the Asian buyers markets. Right, so there you have my thoughts on why it is I think, you know, we need to get to Asia and how small-scale LNG could help. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Do you think this is feasible? Do you think this is possible? Makes sense? You let me know, right? And that more or less brings me to the end of the main thing I wanted to cover this week. I guess 2 very, very quick updates. I saw recently on both social media and printed media that the government, the Ministry of Energy, Minister Young is having discussions with EOG to target those stranded gas fields and to boost LNG production. This is good. I do hope that that comes to pass and we start to pick up those stranded gas fields so that, you know, we could get things done domestically, and whatever excess we also have could be exported. Also, I would have posted and shared information that Antigua and Barbuda, Alfa Nero, the Antigua Barbuda government has been given authorization or a license or whatever it is you want to call it, approval from the US to go ahead and auction the Alfa Nero. I expect that the Antigua and Barbuda authorities will be moving very, very quickly to make this happen and to make that auction happen in the shortest possible time. I remember, I'm still sticking to my guess that it's gonna sell for on or around $80 million. I would have said +5 or -5, but somewhere around $80 million US, and we'll see how that goes. Wish the Antigua and Barbuda government all the best with that. So all that remains to me now to say is the usual, you know, if you've enjoyed the video and if you've watched the entire video, thank you very much. And if you've enjoyed the video, please give us a like, share and subscribe. If you really enjoyed the video, there will be a link to my Buy Me a Coffee where you can provide further support to help our channel to grow. And as usual, all the things that I would have referenced will be linked. All the articles and stuff will be linked in the description. And it just remains to me to say the usual, keep informed, stay vigilant, be prepared. Whenever you see in this video, have a good day, have a great week. I wish you all the best, and until the next video, bye bye.